Searching for Happy by Venus Knight. Prologue. Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie wasn't a murderer until he was. Life is like that sometimes. Experiences can bend and break one's mind so traumatically it changes who they are. At least who they thought they were. Mr. Charlie thought he was a good man. So did others who existed around him. If asked, his friends, family, and neighbors would say, "Mr. Charlie is a nice man. He never hurt a soul." He was an ordinary man who lived an ordinary life. He had no expectations of anything and lived only by routine and order. His brush next to his comb in the same place on his side of the sink in the bathroom. His bed immediately prepped neatly after waking. His pants and shirts pressed and hung in a soldier stance in his closet, always ready for wear. His duties as a Marine for 25 years created his robotic life. Married to the first woman he fell in love with, Gladys aided in behavior. She packed him the same lunch for work every day, a bologna sandwich with mayonnaise, 4 carrot sticks, and an apple. Being with Mr. Charlie was predictable, with no surprises, null and void. Mr. Charlie was a quiet man. He socialized, but never said much. He limited himself to 2 beers in a sitting, never more. He observed everything about everyone in every moment. He passed judgment like most people, but would never state his thoughts out loud. He didn't feel the need to discuss his distaste for a person. His reactions toward them was enough. On Wednesday, March 15th, 1989, Mr. Charlie woke up like any other day. He opened his eyes, adjusting them to the sights around him. There was never a need for an alarm. Charlie had a mental clock that never failed. He sat up in bed, his feet sliding into his red and blue plaid slippers. He made their bed, then inhaled and exhaled 3 times, told God thank you, and proceeded to the bathroom to brush, wash, and change clothes. His Wednesday uniform planned from Sunday. Gladys would already be awake. She woke up an hour before to prepare his breakfast and bologna sandwich. She'd watch him eat, then kiss him goodbye as he walked the same pathway to work. Then Gladys would go back to sleep. On Thursday, March 16th, 1989, Mr. Charlie opened his eyes after waking, this time adjusting his vision longer than usual. He had slept restlessly. He had lain with his eyes closed for most of the night, trying to fight the thoughts and images and replaying what he could or should have done. When he finally moved to sit up, his breathing sounded more like heavy sighs and grunts. With what he was feeling, Mr. Charlie fell to his knees and asked God to forgive him. He got up and went to the bathroom to brush and wash and put his Thursday uniform on. He sat down across from Gladys. She watched as he ate, but this time, Gladys experienced something different. Charlie spoke to her. "Gladys, these eggs are really good, and the toast is perfect. You are the best." Wide-eyed, she said, "Thank you so much, Charlie. That was sweet. Would you like some more?" She jumped up from her chair. "No, honey, I have to get to work. You rest your pretty head." He smiled and motioned for her to sit back down with a wave of his hand. Charlie soon got up from the small kitchen table, grabbed his hat, sweater, and work bag. Gladys walked up to him and kissed him goodbye. Before she could poke out her lips, he grabbed Gladys and gave her a sensual kiss on the mouth. She even felt a little tongue, something Charlie never did. With whirlwind thoughts and a closed mouth, she watched her husband walk out the door to travel the same distance and same route he journeyed daily. Her Charlie was different this morning, but she had no idea how different. Charlie worked his shift as a security officer at the hospital. He clocked out, then went to his locker to retrieve what he needed, to murder what changed him. He walked down 2 corridors and took an elevator to the basement where he knew John would be. John was with the other workers. They joked around while putting dirty laundry in the giant industrial washing machines. John didn't notice Charlie until his coworker asked, "Hey, Charlie, what you doing down here?" Charlie didn't respond, his body unmoving, his eyes fixed on John. "Charlie, man, are you okay?" Another coworker standing next to John asked. John stood petrified. He knew what Charlie knew. With unwanted thoughts swimming in his memory, Charlie grabbed his bag tighter. The anger grew inside him like a raging bull, a rage he'd never experienced in his ordinary life. He fumed from the horror he had witnessed. The men in front of him began to turn their backs to finish loading the hospital laundry. Charlie finally unzipped his bag and pulled out his .38 revolver. The bag fell onto the floor, making a clamping sound from the metal buckles and the contents inside. The food container that stored the carrot sticks, his work boots, and jacket now spilled out onto the floor. Eyes electric from the sights and sounds of Charlie's unexpected actions, the men doubled back with fear, their arms and hands up and shivering. Charlie stood holding the gun, staring straight into John. Cries to put the gun down filled the basement floor as other workers ran to take cover. Charlie yelled out, "I saw what you did, John! I saw what you did!" As John tried to turn to run, Charlie shot him 3 times, twice in the back and once in the leg. John fell down onto the basement floor from the crippling injuries. Charlie continued shooting until his gun was empty. Another security officer came from behind, grabbing and throwing Charlie onto the floor. He didn't fight back. He had no intention to. He had to murder what he saw. Help bring this story to Audible by supporting my GoFundMe, Searching for Happy by Venus Knight.